is for credits. There's a few other reasons, but the main one's credits. With the proper setup, it can get a lot of credits through it really fast. It's also just fun. I just enjoy it. Are we good now? Yes, this is Profit Taker. We can do a little Profit Taker after this. Get down here. I reckon I can take him. Get down here. Get. Exotic. Don't make me Exotic Contagion here. Come in. So this part, it doesn't actually matter how much damage you're doing. It's more of the consistency of the damage. Unfortunately. Is that we'd blow through this part of the mission way too fast. So you see the symbol on their head? The little forehead? That's what we gotta match. Not that you can see it behind my obnoxious wings. Going through like multiple over health bar. Oh goodness. Never change. What are we on now? Oh, there we go. Which one of them has heat? We have heat. Yeah. Let me some our gun. Oh, Ocarina. We're gonna be heal. Run, nerd. I'm gonna heal. What are you doing? This is pretty much post the Profit Taker. Once we get to the 4th phase here. That's gonna be annoying. We got a wall of F off, and like, well, I'm not gonna like that. I guess I can go in my arc. What is it? My mech. That'd probably help. I changed all my elements recently, so I don't have them memorized, fortunately. It's the stinky weapon. I should probably clear Profit Taker eventually. You want to join? Got an extra spot, I reckon. Which one has heat? Oh. Oh. What? Wasn't looking. It's alright. Last grips. It's more about the consistency of damage and less about the one-hit wonder, and all my builds towards one-hit wonder. Yeah, this is pretty much most of it. Break some limbs here and there, and that's about it. Alright, and let's leave. Do you want to join, Finn? I should bring in multitude. Be Profit Taker on your first try that night. I should, without knowing, you should bring multiple elements. Time was tight with 1 second remaining. That's fair. Come over here. But it's worth it. It's a fun fight as well. Useless. So the reason why we use Chroma is because standing in this aura doubles our credits, and it's a credit farm. I am not a speedrunner. I am a farmer. I farm things, not speedrun things. I can go kind of fast, but that's besides the point. It's made it to Fortuna, so flat zero across the board. It'll take. It's a later on thing. Surely grind stuff. Build Gar or something. Gar's cool. I like Mag. Mag has a very high upper limit. Also, my Chroma's kind of a shitpost too, because I was more or less forced to play Chroma back in the old Eidolon hunting days. It was like 2019, 2020. So I made him a shitpost, but then I adapted it to be purple, and now it's not. I guess to go over the little loadout thing is there's a lot of options as far as like what to bring for Profit Taker, in my opinion. If you want to speed run it, that's a different thing, and you already know what you're talking about. I bring Nourish because it puts viral on things, which is a unique element. And then I try to cover every single element within my weapons. You can cycle the elements using your amp on your operator. That's less fun. Big chroma damage buff and armor buff. Keep you alive. Keep you from dying. It does do nullifying attacks during the fight. So we use Arcane Nullifier. Build power, strength, duration, and energy economy. However you want to achieve that. However you feel like achieving that. I use Zenith because the bubbles in there, it has infinite punch through, so it makes one of the mechanics easier. That it blows reload in your pockets and has a high base damage, so I just use those. Plus they're a tenant weapon, so I get another element on there. And if you notice, I just kind of throw elements across the board. And then Zodiac Contagion hits like a Mack truck. This is the build. I don't even know if it's right anymore. Doesn't look right. Probably right. Who knows? I've farmed this thing since then, so I don't know. I feel like I'm missing some mods. It's fine though. And then you bring the double credit thingy. Actually. Yeah, I feel like my dagger, my bala got messed up. And can't just twice. Loadouts. This is like the one thing in the game where it's actually kind of fun to have a loadout for. I don't really never did loadouts for a long time. This is like the first thing that pushed me to do loadouts. Are these boundaries you get from Utiko for standing? Turtle. Turtle. So there's 2 syndicates. You complete the first one, and then you get access to this one. That's the best way to explain that quickly. Now you got the Archon deployer blueprint, so you'll need to build one of those. Slap that R on Archon, and then you can do Profit Taker. Morning! You want Wukong or Ember? Both, probably, because like there it looks. Wukong is a very like generalist. It's very nice, very easy. Not too much to it. I should probably look at my build. I normally create like just like actually write things down on a spreadsheet when I do this because there's so many elements at play. I used to use the Imperator Vandal here, but they changed the HP values and it doesn't feel like it hits hard enough anymore. So for now, I've just used the Corvus Prime. Just one big FU hit, but it is an Arcoplasmor hit, so it kind of it's a little stinky. I don't think this is supposed to be radiation. Why is this magnetic? Heat, electric, toxin, cold. The Warframe resource channel, telling you, helps me so many times you don't even know. I will literally pull up what I'm looking at. It's such a simple thing, and I know it's like one of those no duh kind of things, but you'd be surprised when this helps. Like I know everybody knows this, but it helps a lot. Because if I'm sitting here like, okay, I have to have electric for melee influence, what do I need? Well, not these 3, because these 3 are there. So I can get gas, blast, and viral. It's like a quick reference. I got corrosive, I got magnetic, got way too much radiation. Blast is covered, viral's covered. I might be missing gas, so then I'll double check that. Just makes things more efficient, that's all. Yeah, you'll have to complete the Solaris United. If you need help with Utiko standing, Solaris United standing, just let me know. I help people all the time get them because it's the easiest thing is to have somebody that's rank 5 that can get the Cooper down on Carmines, in my opinion. It's 8k standing per dog. Like, that's more than a bounty, and it takes about 2 minutes if you're quick. Where's my gas at? Okay, this one does have gas. It just feels wrong. You know, there's like so many wrong polarities. We have new mods. I'll just throw corrupt charge on it. Honestly, it does fine. I don't want to think too much on this. Epics. You're not much into the whole min-maxing things and stuff. So Kitsune, as long as people like what you're doing right now, like you're expressing where you're at in the game, that helps me give more effective information, or at least more effective opinions, because I gear my advice and information based upon like who I'm talking to. It gets hard for stream because I'm talking to like a whole plethora of like places where people are in the game.
It is a skill issue.
It is a skill issue, I know. Arc gun work, yay. If you're ready, let me know there. How am I going to visualize these shapes?
Don't bother me now. Talk to yourself. Oh, yeah, well,
Back from the ad.
contracts. Interested?
I can see it in my head. I just can't express it very well. So I'm thinking of the flat, the modded, or sorry, base, the modded, and like, yeah, do it this way. And then like, we'll call it additive at the end there. So
I love that new pet rock
fresh from the bag. Phases are pretty tricky. Yeah, most people, it used to be an art, like a relic farm once upon a time, but it's been a while. Part lately I've been using Loki and soloed an arc on it. Very nice, Tardo. Okay, so I don't even know if Dark Justice is around, but that's terribly. I should just done caps. So these two are interjoined. You got your base and your modded, more or less. So this is like a multiplier. That scared me for some reason. So let's say this is just Blood Rush, right? This is just Blood Rush. Blood Rush gives 440% modded. What is this really when we convert this? 440% is 4.4 multiplying by 4.4. So if your base status chance is 5%, what's that converted? Like on Atlas, it's 0.5. Multiply this by this tiny number. So if you have a small little base damage here, multiplying it by 4.4 does not make this square that much bigger. But, and this is the flat part of it at the end, the additive at the end, the flat. So like things like a Darza or Arcane Adventure like Fen was mentioning, this just increases by the amount. Like just the amount. So if you have that 5%, it's going to be the 45%. So if we have a 4.4 multiplier, it might do this, you know? But that flat is going to be that same amount, just no matter what. But on the flip side, if you have there's kind of, these returns aren't so amazing on things that have like, if you're starting with like a big base amount, and I'm using crit, but this is a lot of them, by the way. If you're starting with a big base amount, you can get like a lot more out of modded if you're starting with the large base. Whereas Avenger might be, you know, let's say like an Avenger's amount, like this amount of increase. Like it's always going to be this amount. So even if the square starts here, it'll still give that like same amount no matter what, which is really good when it has a low amount. It's very dense when you're starting with a low amount. And like Wrathful Advance. Wrathful Advance gives you a fat amount of crit chance on your melee. So you don't need to have this big square. You can start with something smaller and be like, yeah, nah, I'm just going to put Wrathful on there. Like, deal with it. You know, that's basically what happens. And the holy grail that is very rare in the game, and that's where the incarnates and stuff get in, is being able to increase this. Like this. This is why stat stinks. You know, in those 3 squares. Well, more so like this. And those 3 squares. This one being the amp. You know, the base amount. That's why incarnates for stat sticks increase this base amount. The square that's tiny. So, it's better than this. Because this gives a flat amount. Giving a flat amount to this, though, disgusting. Because 45% here, like on Avenger, right? That's just going to be 45% here. Whereas 45% here then gets multiplied by your modded, and it gets disgusting. That's why incarnates are almost always like the go-to for using a stat stick for the Atlas and Core and all this other stuff, because it makes the base amount, whatever it is, increase. And that's disgusting in the best kind of way. Yeah, he's fun to play. I love that free turtle. So that's if you can increase that base square to even a bigger amount, you know, you can just work with it. This is why we use incarnates so much for stat sticks, is because that, and they've reworded a lot of that, which is beautiful. Thank you to E, always cooking. Big W. Is they've added the wording to try to like incorporate more of it, and they seem to be doing more and more of it. Which, oh my god, thank you. I don't even know how to describe that. So depending upon what you're looking at, most of the time, if you can add to that base amount, it's almost amazing. It's almost always the biggest W. Additive flat is very versatile and can like fix, we'll call it like fix problems, like Avenger. If you got 5% crit, I'll give you a clue. So on Atlas, like we used this on Atlas once upon a time. This would make Atlas go from 5% crit to 50%, which is nice. If this was additive with the base amount, but now you can multiply that with that 50% by Blood Rush, and it's a 4.4 times on top of that. Let me pull up my paint here. So you got the 5%, which is a tiny amount. You're getting like the Avenger, which gives just a chunk onto there, more or less. Where's my calculator? So you'll get, so Blood Rush would be 4.4, which is almost 5. So you'll gain like 25% crit chance with Blood Rush. Less than that, but more or less after the end. And then you get 45 from Avenger. So you get 70%, you know? Because these add together at the end. And this is your combined base and modded. This is your base and your modded over here. Remember that little extended out over here? And then, yeah, that equals that. Now, if this was additive with the base, like a lot of incarnates are, first exalted. Goodness. So if right, theoretically, if Avenger added to the base amount, well, now you have, you know, we get this, if this is 5 times 4-ish, you know, 4.4, whatever, it's like ish, 25-ish, right? I don't care about the exacts, but this was added to the flat. Well, now this gets multiplied by that blood rush, and this gives you a disgusting number. You know, now before we even get to like any flat values, oh, whoops. Before we even get in there, now we're getting into like 200% out the base. This is why like additive to base is like the holy grail. And very rarely put in the game because It's just it breaks stuff quickly, very, 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 very quickly. This is also why the Soma Prime has classically been for the longest of times. My veteran players know, not veterans, but you see math, you go Okay, I'll stop doing math. I was doing shapes.
Sparky, right. We're all here.
Basically, if you can increase that base square first, that's why we go over it, you know. This is a flat base amount. Yes. So some carnets can reach 400% status chance. Yes, it's disgusting. Avengers additive. Final. Sadly not base. Yes, exactly. Can add final crit. Yeah. Yeah. So if you have something that has yeah, I had to go to the ship. Yeah, I can add you. So if you had something like they're saying, like the Kuva Nucor there. Oh, I really don't want to mess up this loadout. We'll just look at it over here. So the 7% is kind of poopy. And you know, you want to expand the square in every way and not make a rectangle. If you use something like Harrow that gives you 200% flat on headshots, well, now you're doing 207%. And that crit multiplier is very heavy. So that's very dense. It's very, very dense. Geometry a part of math. Don't tell him that. Don't tell him that. I just don't. You're gonna ruin it. You're gonna scare him away. You're gonna get scared. But yeah, that's flat crit, or not crit, but flat values in general. Additive with the final, like flat at the end, kind of stuff. Final crit damage, all that stuff can fix stuff. Additive with the base values is very commonly just broken. And then you have your modded amounts, which can vary because it's an amplifier. You know, if you don't have a good, that base shape isn't big to begin with, amplifying it normally is kind of bad. Without bounty, oh, I did do the bounty, but I think we might have to redo it.
Sparky, right. We're all here. Let's get started.
Go into this. But yeah, you do interesting things with flat crit. Well, not just crit, but any of them.
Final phase.
Most often like crit.
Spark.
Or why we like Tenacious Bond so much. The Aku core, right? Why we look like Tenacious Bond so much is because it's flat crit damage in all of our weapons. With build is old. So with Tenacious Bond, we get a 1.2 crit damage multiplier that's additive with the final. So if you had, you know, a 2.0, now it's a 3.7. It's not affected by mods. That's the big part of this, is it's additive and it's not affected by mods. If it was affected by mods, then it'd be base. Base and based. Alright, profit taker time. Oh, this spawn. I do like to generally kind of stand in front of the failure there. And the reason for that is because if not, they will spin and Bardini will lose his mind. Kind of spinning, and I really dislike. Sorry, she. Normally you'd have to fly over there and go with those pylons and stuff, but this is why this is Zenith, because if not, we'd have better weapons for this. I miss using the Imperative Vandal for this so much. All I'm doing here is just focusing on the element that's on their forehead. And then I shoot them with that element. It takes a little bit of muscle memory to get the elements you have down. It's getting used to your own loadout, but that just takes practice. It's not like it's a big deal if you don't shoot the right element at them. It's not really the end. It's kind of ease what it is, more or less. Oh, bap, bap. You can also just fly over there and shoot them. This is just something I like to do because I'm lazy. But there's no reason to speed run this, more or less. Just outside of if people enjoy that. Play the game you want to play. It's a good farm, and I do it as a farm. It's also a fun, rewarding boss fight. Yeah, we're done. Not too bad. Didn't have the gear score. So around here, more or less, it'll be there. As long as you're in vacuum range, it doesn't super matter. I got the double credits. And then those hyperthermic shells, those actually sell pretty good. The 60/60 arc gun mods. You'd be surprised. They're not like a lot of plat, but people buy them pretty often. They just look up builds and they're like, I need this. Oh, it only costs 10 plat on Warframe Market. That's about it. Okay, have a credit booster.
Suppressing fire. Is it? Holy crap.
Your keyboard is revolting, although. Oh no. But
Get in there, Tenno. Rip out anything you think might help our cause. Biz, what's that sound?
The satellite, it's continuing to overcharge the orb. At this rate, in a matter of seconds, it will...
yeah, there's also citrine. I want to say citrine's is not like it locks your crit at it. It's more like what do you call it? More like the Godfa.
Time's running out for those on my book, Stardust. What have you got for me? Hey, this cover's got a cool head. I like
Take your best, girl.
nothing but the best for you, Stardust. This ragtag.
We get more crewmates.
Hot.
I'm gonna get a Corpus one that has the funny stuff.
I'll be here.
Yeah, citrine's 4 is peculiar.
Get back to work.
And there's more than just crit to go off of too. We used crit as an example, but this applies in many other places, including status chance and a bunch of other places. If I'm being completely honest with you, the citrine's weapon is a good example of just if you want to look at what additive final things are out there. So you get arc gun. Yeah, you get the 60/60 mods from Profit Taker. It's quite nice. As a defensive gonna kill you. Expanding it soon. That's what I was getting anywhere. Yeah, you can do a lot of funny things with it. Oh, also, we did a little science, and the unique passive from Emma Nata's rolls actually applies to exalted weapons, and as long as you don't attack, you maintain them. So if you roll a 6, you can just get all those flat final bonuses at the end. It's kind of wild. Not the best thing, but it's interesting nonetheless. Did that thing... Wait. Did that thing have... It's just... It's a spider. It's a spooter. There's a big old spider. But yeah, the 60/60 mods drop from there as well. So it's kind of nice. This applies to a lot of different things within... I guess going back to like the damage idea more or less and pushing it out in many different ways is this is why I personally don't use the Adar's is the Darza gives me that flat crit buff, which is super nice and a lot of times can be very unique. I also give it to Dallas, which is amazing. Like I've considered running it and everything. I just can't get around the amps monolith that is the Durga's utility. Applying 6+ statuses just every time it zaps. And then it also giving me energy regen from Archon Stretch, it giving a lot of other things. But what I do is I do a different part of, I invest more into a different part of the damage square, we'll call it, or cube. I'm more investing in the base damage, you know, instead of the crit side of things. It benefits weapons in different ways. And how that looks. Oh, good song.
The multitude of creatures you have immortalized would cry out in thanks.
There's and anybody that uses melee duplicate, I like melee duplicate, and it messes with that. I tend to try to not mess with people's gameplay too much. Oh, if you like big crit damage, big opponent club. So right now, I have a 13.6 crit multiplier, and I can increase that by a lot more if I wanted to. It's just completely over-invested in it. You can't see too much behind my head here. Let me get the frick out of the way. Actually, I'll just pull it this way.